If you feel that your life is meant for more, you dream big and set big goals but do nothing about it, it is not because you are lazy. Assuming that you have clarity on what you want, there's a neurological cycle that prevents you from pursuing your goals. In this episode, we will talk about how you can stop procrastinating and how you can rewire your brain to enjoy pursuing your big goals. Welcome to the Deep Life Collective, a community for those who want to build a meaningful life in the age of emptiness and distractions. Most of us think that we procrastinate because we are lazy or we're just bad at managing our time, but actually research shows that procrastination is fundamentally an emotional management problem, not a time management problem. Think of your brain as a battlefield with two main characters. So on one side, you have the prefrontal cortex. This is the wise adult of the brain that handles the planning and the long-term goals. On the other side is the limbic system, which is like a toddler that wants pleasure and comfort right now. When you have a task that feels very scary or boring or overwhelming, your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, actually perceives that as a physical threat. This triggers an amygdala hijack where your emotional brain overrides your rational brain. So to feel better immediately, you avoid the task, do something easy like scrolling on social media or cleaning your desk or just anything to avoid the task. This creates an avoidance loop. So you avoid the task, you feel short-term sense of relief, and then your brain learns that avoidance is a reward, and so you repeat the cycle. Simply put, what you repeat, you become. You can train your brain to do the opposite and interrupt the avoidance loop by just starting. The first step is to recognize when your brain is avoiding a task. Start with noticing and naming the emotion. When you notice yourself avoiding a task, stop and label the specific feeling that you are experiencing. You're probably feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or even afraid of failure. Naming that emotion helps shift your brain's activity from the emotional brain back to the rational brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. Once you name the emotion, practice self-compassion. Self-criticism makes the avoidance loop worse by increasing the negative emotions that you are actually trying to avoid. Instead, acknowledge the struggle without any judgment to reduce the shame that actually keeps that loop active. Number 2 is make the task stupidly small. Embarrassingly simple. The goal is to lower the barrier of entry so that your tasks no longer feel like a threat to the brain or they no longer feel like so hard to do. Break large tasks into tiny steps so that you can complete them in a few minutes. Then use the just start rule. So commit to working only for 5 to 10 minutes without worrying about the quality or the outcome. Often the dread of a task is actually far worse than the task itself. Almost always, it never feels as bad as you think. And in fact, when you complete the task, you feel so much better. A lot of time, it doesn't take as much time as you even think it's going to take. And you're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding how you think it will make you feel. I also love this book, Tiny Experiment, which talks about viewing tasks or goals as experiments. And this can actually lower the expectations and reduce that fear of failure that triggers the avoidance loop. Experiment teach us to act without any attachment and become comfortable with the uncertainty. And we're not attached to what the outcome will be. Step 3 is optimize your environment for focus and reward your effort. Remove all distractions such as your phones, or sometimes it means walking away from certain people before you can begin a task. Create an environment that makes it harder for you to avoid the task. When I'm writing, I find that changing the environment and going to a library or a more quiet place actually helps me focus than staying at home. You can reward your effort by pairing a difficult task with something that you enjoy to do, something like listening to music while you go out for a run. That makes it so much better. And it makes that initial effort more appealing and you anticipate a positive experience. What happens sometimes is that you find another productive task to do because your brain won't let you feel guilt or shame about procrastinating. These are the very negative emotions that it tries to avoid. So it disguises avoidance with productive tasks such as listening to self-improvement podcasts, cleaning, endless planning instead of doing what you actually need to do. And this gives you a sense of accomplishment without it feeling very risky. Step number 4 is another side to this, and perhaps the deepest reason we procrastinate is to protect our ego. Many of us subconsciously attach our performance and achievements to our sense of self-worth. If you believe that how much money you make in a business defines how smart or worthy you are, then failing is terrifying. So by procrastinating, you can actually create a built-in excuse. If you do poorly, you can always say, well, it was just a little side hustle. I didn't put that much effort. This protects you from actually thinking that you're not capable. It's how your brain protects you, which ends up sabotaging you actually achieving the goals that you set for yourself. And this is also why perfectionists are the biggest procrastinators. The fear of not doing a task perfectly makes the stakes so high that it actually feels safer to never start at all. You can challenge this by reminding yourself that your performance on a specific task is not a measure of your innate intelligence or value as a person. I always tell myself, don't let perfect get in the way of good enough. Start anyway. To sum everything up, just start. Break your ambitious goals to small actionable experiments. Create an environment that supports you to be consistent and know that you are inherently worthy without any achievement. Asante sana for joining the conversation. Until next time, keep choosing what truly matters to you.